Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, California Weather Watch. Today's January 18th, and right now we are looking at the infrared satellite imagery. You got the Hawaiian Islands bottom left. There's the state of California. Check out this ridge of high pressure dominating the west coast of North America, keeping storm systems at bay, keeping us very dry across the state of California. And we're going to have some Santa Ana wind development again as we go through the next couple days, probably continuing on through the upcoming week. And we'll also take a look at the extended forecast as we go through the video this morning to see when this pattern may break. Looking at the visible satellite imagery right now, you can see the Sierra Nevada, snow-capped mountains. There's Mount Shasta right there. A lot of sunshine across the desert areas, and some of the coastal areas are dealing with some of that marine layer. There is some low clouds into the Los Angeles metro. We'll take any bump in relative humidity we can get. Mainly north of the Bay Area, a lot of the coastal areas are kind of socked in this morning, mixed bag as you go through south. But a lot of the central coastline, there is basking in some sunshine this morning also. So, taking a look at the remarkably dry rainy season that is underway in southwest California. So, we don't get much rain between April and November. That's fairly well known. And there have been many years with no measurable precipitation from June through September. So, that dry streak was not that unusual, but we did have a pretty good dry streak for this period. Now we're going into the rainy season. And so far for December and halfway through January, and now going towards the end of January coming up here with not much in the extended forecast. We'll take a look at that here today in a moment, but we're not doing too good here. And you can see this is the rainy season. We get about 82% of our yearly average precipitation. So this deficit we are going through is not good news. And so hopefully we can turn things around as we go towards the end of the month and on in through February and March, because we really need it. This is our rainy season, and we are going on some areas working with their driest streak here during this time frame since last spring. Now taking a look at the top 5 driest starts to winter here, not just California, but Arizona as well. You see only Flagstaff and Window Rock with any precipitation since December 1st, and many areas with 0. So we're off to a very dry start there. Phoenix, 145 consecutive days without rain. Yuma, 160, still a ways off from that record though, set back in 2001, 2002. Las Vegas, though, is on its longest all-time dry streak. We're approaching 189 days, I think it is today, and 190 days will be tomorrow. And we'll continue to see if any precipitation is in store. But this is San Diego National Weather Service and Fire Weather Watch. You see these, it's kind of these golden areas there across the higher terrain mainly that may be extended out into some of the lower elevations. We'll see how that goes. But kind of a, Santa Ana wind event, and perhaps more than one of them as well as we continue the offshore flows. We go through the upcoming days and probably on in through next week. The localized gust is 60 miles per hour, some very low relative humidity. So here we go again, folks. We are going to be dealing with the favorable conditions for rapid fire spread and extreme fire behavior. So I get a lot of questions about which weather station I recommend. Well, this one's got a great smartphone app. Solar powered ultrasonic anemometers, because UV index has got a lightning detection system, and ultrasonic anemometer is very accurate. I've been comparing it against some more expensive weather equipment, and it's got a nice thermometer with it as well that is also very accurate. You can see I selected this station here. I think that is Pigeon Springs, right near the California Nevada border, and there's Tonopah, Nevada. I actually lived there for a while doing the weather at the airport out there, and right near Area 51. And if you want a cool drive, do that drive from Tonopah all the way down towards Las Vegas. There's some very interesting stuff out there, including Goldfield, a bit of a ghost town out there as well. And I like to drive through Death Valley, especially when it's not super hot during the summertime. But look at that station down into the teens this morning, and then look at the warm up there. So as the sun rises, you can kind of see how the temperature has been jumping as we're going through the morning hours as the sun starts to bathe the area. Now, taking a look at the relative humidities on the European. So we're not doing too bad. We saw some of those lower clouds into the Los Angeles metro and up and down the coastline. You can kind of see that marine layer. But something starts to change here as we go on and through Monday. So actually through tomorrow morning, not too bad. Sunday morning, then we go through the day Sunday, and even Monday morning, not too bad. But then things are going to switch up, and quite dramatically so. You'll see the very low relative humidities and the dry air spreading out across the ocean areas, and that is not going to be good news. As some very dry air is going to be accompanying these Santa Ana winds. So hopefully we're not going to be starting up some of these fires that we are starting to get contained here across Southern California, and hopefully nobody out there is going to be starting any additional fires. At least we don't have any kind of a lightning threat with anything going on now. The Santa Ana winds are very dry regime. There's no threat of any kind of lightning starting things. So it's basically humans at this point. But, Southern California is so dry. For example, the Palisades fire was most likely a fireworks fire that was, they thought was extinguished on January 1st, but I guess it was smoldering, and some people in and around the area kind of knew that it was still smoldering at times, and then that was likely what reignited and then caused that massive, devastating fire down through the Palisades. And I don't know the exact reason for the Eaton fire just yet, and some of the other fires, I think they're still under investigation. And that Palisades fire is not official right now. I'm just hearing a lot of reports that it is possibly fireworks related. So fire weather is going to come back here as we go through this upcoming week. And as we scroll on in through Sunday, here we go to Monday. And you can see it start across Northern California. It starts coming out of the northeast, across the Sierra Nevada. You can see them picking up across the deserts. And then we really get ramping up here as we go through the late morning Monday afternoon. Both the GFS and the European now show moderate to strong Santa Ana winds at times as we go on in through Monday night. Look at that this is about 10 p.m. on Monday night here as well. Here we go into Tuesday morning. Very strong winds here through the canyons and the gaps and typical Santa Ana wind locations. And it's going to bring dry conditions, virtually everywhere here across Southern California. And as we scroll off in through Wednesday, you notice we're still offshore on both models, still have this offshore wind kicking up. And I mean, look at this. We're going all the way out through Thursday now, and the GFS is still offshore, not as strong as what the European is showing, but the European has been more consistent with this event, and it figured this out better. The GFS didn't have this event in many of its runs here over the last few days. The European has definitely been better, and now the GFS agrees with the European that we are going to be offshore. So, just another example of why the European model is generally considered king. Now, if we take a look at artificial intelligence European run here, we're just trying to look at the 6-hour precipitation as I scroll through here. It seems like an eternity since we've had rainfall into Southern California. Something happens here. We get kind of a modified Arctic front moving down the Great Basin, and it triggers some precipitation. It's not much, and it's barely worth writing home about because it's still 180 hours plus out. So we'll just continue monitoring something like that, but that's really not going to be a lot of help. We need some more of this Pacific Ocean, the southwest flow, and some of these mid-latitude cyclones getting in here. And it does show some precipitation amounts, but you're looking way too far out. This is 260, 270, 280 hours out. You're looking 10 plus days off into the forecast. That's not what you want to see. Is Pacific Northwest looks like it might start to get active there. But yeah, not much precipitation for California. Man, we're just no rest for the weary here. And when I talk about troughs and ridges, when I mention a trough, it's an area lower pressure generally, cloudy, cooler, precipitation, ridge, warmer, sinking air, sunshine, generally speaking. So I do get some basic questions like that from time to time, and you can see there's all kinds of other things that are going on. Blocking high, omega block, Rex block, but you can kind of see the low pressure, cool, precipitation, clouds, ridge, mild, sinking air, sunshine. Generally speaking, there's always caveats to that though as well. Now, taking a look here at the European artificial intelligence. So what has been going on is likely a little bit of the effect of La Nina and probably the Madden-Julian oscillation going on here. And the Madden-Julian oscillation right now is kind of circling back across the planet. It's an area of tropical convection that moves across the planet, across the equatorial regions between every 30 to 60 days. So that can work in phase and tandem with La Nina at times. But right now, we're just having this jet stream that's kind of coming out across Pacific Ocean just enough to where it's generating some of these storms out here over the Pacific. But that's just causing just enough ridging here to kind of keep the west coast of North America on the dry side of things. And then maybe we switch things up as we go way off into the forecast. But again, this is kind of a northwest flow. You want to see the southwest flow back into California. to bring more of that precipitation. The problem is, though, that when that tends to happen, a lot of times we turn on the faucet kind of fast and furious. And when you're dealing with rainfall over an area that's been dealing with very dry conditions and burn scars, that water, a lot of it just runs off and there's not much you can do with it. I mean, some of it soaks in, obviously, and you can get some of it into reservoirs, but the vast majority of it, you just kind of lose to runoff. And that's why things like snowpack across the higher terrain is so important. You drop snowfall in the Sierra Nevada and it sits up there. And if it does melt, it kind of slowly melts and it seeps into the ground better and it kind of saturates things better than just a big deluge of rainfall that sometimes is carrying branches and logs and rocks and whatnot. If you've ever been around Southern California during a heavy atmospheric river rainfall, you know the boulders that come down in some of those streams and whatnot. And now imagine having a reservoir and trying to catch huge amounts of water carrying big boulders. It can damage the reservoir and it can be too much. You've got to open spillways, and just the water itself can be very damaging to some of these reservoirs as well. So that's the conundrum you face here for a lot of portions of California, because when you do turn things on, sometimes it just comes so fast and furious that it's hard to capture. So anyway, get off my soapbox there. Just gonna trying to explain things a little bit here on why things are so challenging sometimes across the state. So anyway, look at the 10 to 15, actually it's just the 15-day plain old precipitation anomaly and the artificial intelligence. Not looking great, still running the deficit here for a lot of the West Coast. If we look at the GFS, the 06Z run, again, the deficit just continues to be there as we go through early February. Man alive, you can just see it here. Perfectly placed right on the west coast of North America. Now, 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook. Here we go. Below normal should be no surprise. There's this 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. There's the 8 to 14 day. I don't know what they're seeing here, but they've got Southern California. I'll take it. Let's take it. Let's do it. But I don't see much signs of that right now. So we'll just continue to watch it day by day. That's looking way out there. And you see some kind of a broad brush mixed bag below normal here across the west. Total precipitation since October 1st. And again, trying to drive home the point, you can see just the wide, impressive swath of less than a half an inch of rainfall. And again, many of these locations have not received any rainfall at all, or trace, or just a couple hundredths of an inch. And then you can see 5 inches or less extends all the way up towards the Bay Area, and much of Nevada is included in that. So yeah, very dry conditions and not a good start to the rainy season here across the Southwest USA. Drought monitor here. This hasn't been updated for a few days, but we still have severe drought out there also. But anyway, we'll check back. We'll do everything again tomorrow. We'll keep plugging away at this, and hopefully the Santa Ana winds are not going to be too bad. Maybe we'll get a little bit of downtrend in some of these wind speeds, but they do look potentially moderate to strong at times as we go through the next few days, and potentially continuing on through the upcoming week. So anyway, click like and subscribe if you would. What else? Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out and a thanks to all my members here, my supporting members. And if you want to join and click the channel, there should be a join button down below the video here if you want to help support the page. But yeah, this is not possible without you guys. Thank you very much. Thanks for checking back every day and watching, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.